So, guys, I saw the new movie Silent Night. This movie is just not it, guys. I went into Silent Night very excited. I really like John Woo. I really like action movies. I really like unique concepts, and I thought Silent Night would embrace its concept. It's a film told almost entirely without dialogue, following a man played by Joel Kinnaman who's got a good life. He's an electrician. He lives happily with his wife and son. All's going well until gang violence claims the life of his kid, who's killed by a stray bullet during a gang war. This sends Joel Kinnaman's character into a rage, and he sets out to find the men who killed his son. And he sets a day on the calendar 1 year from the present on Christmas Day. He trains and trains with the intention of doing this one thing he marks on the calendar in big, bold black letters: kill them all. Now, like I said, the movie was very promising. Since I saw the trailer, I was very excited for this. It had an emotional hook, a likable lead, a great director. It's a Christmas movie, a Christmas action movie. I mean, I was thinking, this has everything I'd like. There's no dialogue, so there's plenty of room for creative, inventive kills and original situations. I even thought they'd lean into some bizarre spectacle and camera work, given that this movie was constantly proclaiming it's from the producers of John Wick. But I know now for a fact that the same team at Lionsgate who made that continent-spanning epic action franchise really had little say in this, because this is just such a terrible movie. And I really didn't want to say that. Like I said, I was so excited to see this. This seemed like the perfect movie to enjoy right before the December movie season kicks off. It would have everything you'd expect to have in a great movie, but it just leaves you hanging in every department. I was really disappointed that this is a John Woo film, because he's made great iconic action films like Hard Boiled and Face Off and even Mission Impossible 2. And what those all have in common is they tell exciting, fast-paced stories. They're stitched together with phenomenal action sequences. Let's start with the pacing. I mean, I think this is a really poorly paced movie. I was thinking they definitely could have cut a lot of stuff out. The film's around 104 minutes. This could have easily gone down to 80 or less. See, the problem is the structure and how it all starts out. The movie should really have built an emotional hook. I think it just started really terribly. I wish it had introduced us to Joel Kinnaman's family, to his son, to his wife early on, but the film makes the weirdest possible editing choices. It makes a lot of strange choices, but I didn't like its beginning. And the first shot is Joel Kinnaman chasing after his son's killers. It just throws you into the action. This isn't always a bad thing, but in this case, it's a bit of jerking around with the story, because you see Kinnaman, you see him get shot, you see him end up in the hospital, no voice, hence why there's no dialogue. His wife's there, he has to heal. He gets out of the hospital, and then there's this flashback to his son being killed, and it's just such an odd choice. I wonder why they didn't just show it off right at the beginning. Why didn't they just start with that and build off of that potential energy? Instead, we just watch in silence as he heals, as he's in pain, and we know there's something more going on. Like, obviously, dude has been shot in the throat. Obviously, that would piss you the fuck off. But clearly this guy's more devastated, more has happened to him. So I just don't get why 10 minutes into the movie, they show a really fucking quick flashback to his son being killed. Like, why didn't you just start with that? It's such a weird way to just fuck up the pacing. And the movie continues its trail of anticlimax. See, you can make a fast-paced movie where, there isn't a lot of action. You need to just keep sprinkling in details, adding things to ensure that things are coming. But the movie doesn't do that. It doesn't do any of that. We spend about a half hour at the beginning where Joel Kinnaman is just driving around LA. He's stalking out the most cliche, muscle-headed drug dealers and gangbangers. He's got this, stare and glare, and he's just like looking out of his car at these bad guys. He goes to the LAPD headquarters. He takes some mug shots, takes photos of them. He goes to a parking lot where he has a knife, and he's about to stab one of these gangbangers, but then there's kids around, so he doesn't do it. The movie just follows him meandering around for half hour. It feels so long. It doesn't really do anything. And then, not to mention, there's bits of training scattered in, training montages. Yeah, they can be cool. They're often cool, but not when you scatter the same type of thing around for 20 minutes. We get it. He's getting built. He's getting jacked. He's gonna get revenge. The movie just is killing time. If John Woo wanted to make this movie better, I would have just gone straight out of the gate with the revenge and the killing. Have him immediately start taking down gangbangers and slowly take them out one by one, like John Wick. Have these gangbangers learn to fear him. Have him built up as a John Wick character, someone these guys are fearing. You're going to want to see what he's doing next, almost like a slasher film, but the bad guys are the ones being slashed. This should have been the way they went. This should have been the route they took. I would have liked that better. He's a guy who had his voice taken from him. Now he's back from revenge. It would leave the audience dreading. I also wish the villains were not just the most cliche, boring, stock type gangbangers with tattoos and guns and knives. You'll forget about mostly what happened in this movie by the next day. I also think this movie could have given us more suspense, but it really kind of avoided that because there's a lack of dialogue. I think the filmmakers figured out it required too much explanation, and thus they didn't include any dialogue at all. They probably just thought we would have had to have characters explaining stuff. And I think that it is honestly a mistake to have zero dialogue. I think there's a missed opportunity with Kid Cudi's character. Kid Cudi's in this film. He plays a cop who really has nothing to do in this movie except follow Joel Kinnaman's character around. And all they do at the end is they team up. But when I say he has nothing to do, he really has nothing to do. There's a scene where he's in his office and he catches a glimpse of Joel Kinnaman taking information on the gangsters. A scene of him in his house drinking coffee when he discovers evidence missing. And he finally arrives at the end for a big shootout. But I was really wondering why he wasn't in the film earlier, hunting Joel Kinnaman. They could have had a great dynamic where the cops are looking for him to stop him from killing these gangsters. And in the end, he realizes that no one's going to stop these gangsters and they have to team up to take them down together. They actually do that. They have this ending thing where they take the gangsters down, but there's none of the buildup, none of the excitement, none of that needed or logical steps to build tension, to add excitement. I really think at the end of the day, the no dialogue trope is interesting, but it would have been so much better if they just made Joel Kinnaman's character silent. And it would have worked the same. Have this movie be Silent Night, but just have Joel Kinnaman's character not be able to speak. You can have the other characters talking about how he lost his son, the gangbangers can fear him, and then you can have him slowly going on a one-man revenge spree. It just would have been better that way. Right now, it's just so vague, it's almost so montagey, and you basically just have to wait till the last 20 minutes for an action scene, which isn't really that good. I mean, it's a great concept, but it's no John Wick. I just did not enjoy this movie, and I think it could have been so much better. So let me know what you guys think of Silent Night if you have interest or if you saw it. So guys, thanks so much for watching the review, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching.